Well, we've also thought up for a version that you can use at home. So when children want to use this system at home, of course the board is a bit too big and expensive. So we thought of a little mouse mat that you could put next to your computer. You can connect it to a piece of software on a computer that would mimic the board. And you can put your cube on the mouse mat and perform the same actions as you would on the board. Only now it would be more in a software environment than in a hardware environment. But that would be a way to make a low-cost version for at home. What have I missed this for?
Nothing. That's it.
Oh, no, the user test. Oh, yeah. We have thought of a user test. We haven't conducted it yet, but we thought of the way how to find something more out about our concept. And one of the things that we were wondering about is whether the interaction between the cube and the board would be logical to children. So what we thought was that it might be easier for children to have little tools on the board, like a scissor or a stretcher tool or a pen, with which they could edit the samples, if that would be more logical to children. We didn't know yet what would be the most logical way, but we thought of a user test to test that with different steps and also. And a few things that came out of that was that the sides of the box need to have a specific relation to the lines on the board. So when I would place this sample over here, it would get a certain color, and when I would place a different sample over here, it would also get a different color. So that's something that we thought to make the connection between the board and the box more logical to children.
That's it.
Okay, that's it. That's our concept.
Wow, impressive project for a day and a half work. The only thing that I was questioning myself is because it's just a product presentation, and I missed the whole part that goes before the product presentation. So the ideas and things you played with, and IC-Cube, and I mean there are many choices you made, and I missed a little bit of the presentation, but I can imagine within 10 minutes you have to make choices. Yeah. But it's impressive the stuff you guys thought of, and you did a real full cycle design.
Was it recorded?
Yeah. What?
Yeah? Ah,
oh,
okay.
Cool.
The feedback as well.
Yeah. In such a short period, and that's actually the whole idea of Press Group, to do the whole design cycle.
Oh,
and I think there's also the scary part to it, of course.
Chuck this away and start all over again. Yeah. But an advantage of this this approach to our pressure cooker is that our real project has to produce actually a real fully working prototype. So also in the real project we will have to go quite quickly through the research and idea generation and start building very soon. So this was also an exercise to work on.
No, because then you get into all kind of things like, okay, the board is probably like a screen, because otherwise you have to push it and push. Is that you can imagine that boards are connected, and that I can send my
that's also something we thought about. You could connect the boards to make multiplayer games.
So you can hook it up to YouTube or to your all kind of accounts that you have anyway running and sort of like so. And then Philips has this new enter table, which is like a table with 40 like contact points, and we made some games for them at the HKU. And then we realized that basically you can spend 4 or 5 months on pure gameplay only, on what you can do if you have these kinds of coordinates in which you want to sort of work. And so of course really we are impressed by the way that you've managed to get the cycles to certain productivity each cycle.
Maturity,
absolutely. And if you show the same maturity now, sort of like in reverse engineering basically your own steps, and then look at all the problems that you left lying because you was time for now, and then bring in quickly these ideas to companies and
to the target group.
To the target group. And what was, you said also sponsoring by the government. Did you have anything in mind? Like
Yeah, well,
industries
it is shown from studies that children who start with music at an early age are often more likely to become better analytical minds. So in that way it would be a plus for the governments to stimulate children to use music in an educational way, because it also stimulates their analytical vermogens.
Like sports is governmental aided as well.
Yeah.
We figure that music is a big piece of knowledge a child should develop on an early age. And that's why we want to promote it as well.
Well, it's very good if you can have like, if here's a project and you have different interfaces and different like stories to different kinds of people, and one of this would be to funders with such an argument.
Yeah.
It really is good if someone in the team or all the team would do a bit of a study, call some people, go and find out.
That's also one of the goals of the project, to really try to get it out into the world and maybe find a company that wants to produce it, and to really like the final steps of the design cycle.
Yeah, on the one hand, yes, you can go and find a company to produce it. On the other hand, the hardware is becoming quite cheap. Of course, there's no point in buying boards for 20 euros that are made by 5-year-old Chinese kids who can never put something on the board without just like completely sniffing all the components that we're working all the time. So should we be a bit careful that we're not just buying what kind of hardware that we're buying.
Yeah.
If you go online, if you break down all the components and then find and make a working prototype, why not set up a company by yourself for like 60 euros? You go to Go bundle and you have a one-man's company, and for like 120 euros.
Let's do it.
Doen we nog zo'n snel project.
No, that's another trajectory. That's really if things are yours, think about it. Then also think about, am I going to waste a lot of time about patenting all these things? Maybe. Or am I going to make something that can also be I can make some money off of like schools paying me a fee to do all these things. So that you can do it quickly and the thing stays open and people can do stuff like that. So all of these things that can start out as certain platforms are really interesting. But then also think the other steps through as well.
Yeah.
Think about commercializing it for yourself or prototyping it.
Well, first we'll start all over again.
Did you guys see the Reactable? I think it's a German project, which is really nice. Also about sound and certain components that you can arrange on a. There's a really nice little movie about it on YouTube. Because Reactable is React and on table. Reactable.
And Sam Nemeth, the coach of the NLPK project, the Waag has a DJ table. So they have a table also that you can
like a physical VJ table.
Yeah, physical VJ table to mix sound and images.
And of course we have the VIP system.
Yeah, as well, the VIP system downstairs.
And also know about the media cubes. Those are also boxes which you can turn.
Yeah.
And then
you put them on a table, you can connect them with it's on a touchscreen table.
Okay.
And the last thing, and then the top is like, if you go look at the Stein.nl.
Yes, that's one of our client users.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Now, and then you would find that there's someone, I forget her name, it's ridiculous, who's working with children and music and wearables, so clothing that have certain qualities.
Okay.
So it's also interesting maybe in terms of, to think in terms of a board, but also in terms of a t-shirt. And if you go to Stein,
that's your music on your shirt.
Music on your t-shirt. And then
that's cool, actually.
That's your own composition on a t-shirt. You can swap the composition, you can mess up somebody's composition if you come too close. That's good. Bluetooth out of the t-shirt.
And also a t-shirt with an active spectrum analyzer. So it really goes, you see
Okay, thank you.